afternoon and welcome to this edition of DMS 3000 News. It's episode 88 on this December 18th, 2023. And I am your host with the mostest today, Jason DeCanio. Thank you again and hope you had a fantastic weekend with us. And of course, we are now officially in Christmas week. This is the mode of it all because we are now officially 7 days to the date. Yes, Christmas Eve unfortunately falls on a Sunday. And I'll explain a little bit of why the calendar dates kind of have Christmas Day on a Monday, Christmas Eve on a Sunday, and what you must do as a Catholic in order to kind of keep all of this in track here, depending on what parish you go to and all that other stuff. And I'll explain why they have this set up this way. That'll be in the other important information and all that goodies and stuff today. But we've got some fantastic articles for you today, including the 22 Christmas romance books that will put you in the holiday spirit. Yes, sir. That's for sure. It's going to be an interesting one of that because we have a fantastic look at 22 romance books that you can enjoy all of the end of the next 2 weeks in the holiday season, and not just on Christmas Day, but through January as well, too. So these Christmas romance books will put you in the holiday spirit. If you're one into books, this will be definitely for you. And interesting of the ones of sugar, since we're all going to be baking this holiday season with Christmas cookies and, fudge and holiday desserts and everything, brown sugar versus white sugar, which one is better for you? Some people can't even tolerate neither one of them. But if you had to make a choice as to which one you would use more often, we're going to look at the facts and put them in there side by side so you can see the comparisons. And that's all coming up later on in the program. And what is doom scrolling? And how can you stop the cycle? It's a very interesting term. And we're going to look at it towards the later on in the program as well. So that's something really interesting to take a look at. Also, we have news of the weird because it is Monday. And, of course, the headline, sports, and other important information. What day is today? And, of course, our motivation of the day as well. And don't forget, to check out new episodes of Chillin' 3000 Hangouts, Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern on the David 3000 Network. Want to talk football? Well, check out new episodes of Let's Talk Football, Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with me and David St. Dennis, Victor, and, of course, Chester. Last week we had to cancel football because the guys didn't make it. Hopefully they're safe, and we're going to give them an opportunity to see if they want to do the next 2 weeks of Let's Talk Football instead of just taking some time off, which I would think taking time off to be, through that week. If we didn't have to do all of these live shows during the Christmas holidays and spend time with our friends and just show you back episodes, I think we could do that better off for some reason or another. But there are some live shows that are going to be on. Check the David 3000 Network for all of the programs that are going to be featured during the Christmas break. And we're going to I would like to get together with David St. Dennis before the Christmas break to talk about the holiday schedule and, of course, the upcoming schedule for 2024. So we'll see if we can get an interview with the CEO about that. And then check out new episodes of Wipe Those Tears Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Me and Brandon Bogard, Gianni Pizzi, and Mark Leota. We're going to be looking at the NES games, but not this week. This is our Christmas show coming up this Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. We're going to be looking at it's a surprise. You'll have to just tune into the show, but join us at 9 o'clock for the Christmas show. It's episode number 15. And also, too, I have some important information that pertaining to that show as well. And with the other important information, well, today was the weigh-in, and I'm going to explain what happened on my weigh-in this morning and kind of clear things up. But it came out on a positive note. But, of course, with all of that first, let's go ahead and look at headlines and sports and other important information first. And you know what that means. We go to NPR. So let's go ahead and add our screensaver to the screen sharing to the screen here, and let's look at what's going on. Actor Jonathan Majors received mixed verdict in criminal domestic violence trial. I cannot believe my ear is itchy. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's what happens when you wear headphones, folks. I'm wearing a hat also, too, because it's a little bit chilly in the studios today. In New York, Monday afternoon, a jury found the fast-rising actor guilty of assaulting and harassing his former girlfriend, Grace Jabari. The jury found him not guilty of 2 other charges. Also, too, a father and daughter went fishing. What they found was a 152-year-old shipwreck. Tim Wallach and his 5-year-old daughter, Henley, first thought they came across an octopus, but their discovery is presumed to be a shipwreck connected to the deadliest wildfire in American history. Ruby Frank, the YouTube mom who gave parenting advice, pleads guilty to child abuse. The 8 passengers' mother pleaded guilty to 4 felony counts for abusing and starving 2 of her children in a deal with prosecutors. She faces sentences of 1 to 15 years in prison for each count. Pope Francis approves Catholic blessings for same-sex couples, but not for marriage. In a major development, the Vatican said priests may bless same-sex couples in informal settings, such as a meeting or a visit to a shrine, so long as the blessing does not appear to endorse a marriage. Can family doctors deliver rural America from its maternal health crisis? Well, more than half of American counties don't have an obstetrician. And family physicians working in teams with proper support could be the answer to the crisis in rural obstetric care. A major storm slamming the Northeast is knocking out power and snarling travel. Heavy rains are drenching the coastal Northeast Monday, while major population centers are being hammered with high winds and widespread power outages. Así Ciudad Bogotá, as las personas que ayudan. Oh my God, really? No, that's all Spanish. I have no idea what that is. It has to do with goats and soda. Goats and soda. Is this some kind of joke? I don't know what that is. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin visits Israel amid concerns about Palestinian casualties. Southwest is ordered to pay $140 million for its 2022 holiday travel meltdown. Oh, wow. U.S. Defense Secretary presses Israeli officials on protecting civilian lives in Gaza. Lloyd Austin arrived in Tel Aviv on Monday and told officials that although U.S. support for Israel was unshakable, protecting civilians in Gaza was both a moral duty and a strategic imperative. Southwest will pay a $140 million fine for its meltdown during the 2022 holidays. The U.S. Transportation Department ordered Southwest Airlines to pay a $140 million civil penalty as part of an agreement over operational failures that stranded millions of passengers a year ago. Real MVP, a professor who gives a shout out to the student who nods along in class. When Alexandra Middlewood saw a student nodding along and engaging with her lecture, it invigorated her and made her realize why she loved the job. China is subtly increasing military pressure on Taiwan, and here's how. China has been sending ships and planes to encircle Taiwan and mounting more sophisticated military drills, simulating a blockade of the island. Giving gifts boosts happiness, research shows, so why do we feel frazzled? Researchers who told people to either buy themselves a gift or give one to a stranger found those who gave to others felt a lot happier. And here's how to get the mood boost without the shopping stress. People are leaving some neighborhoods because of floods, a new study finds. There are hundreds of U.S. neighborhoods where the population is declining due to flood risk, a new study suggests. Climate change drives flooding from heavy rain and sea level rise. Chileans reject conservative constitution to replace dictatorship-era charter. The vote came more than a year after Chileans rejected a proposed constitution written by a left-leaning convention. The new document was more conservative than the one it had sought to replace. Landmark national security trial opens in Hong Kong for prominent publisher Jimmy Lai. Lai, who is 76, was arrested in August of 2020 during a crackdown on the city's pro-democracy movement under the sweeping national security law enacted following huge protests 4 years ago. The car plows into a parked SUV in Biden's motorcade outside Delaware campaign headquarters. A car plowed into a parked SUV that was guarding President Biden's motorcade. The president and first lady were not harmed. Florida GOP suspends chairman and demands his resignation amid rape investigation. Ziegler is accused of raping a woman with whom he and his wife, Moms for Liberty co-founder Bridget Ziegler, had a prior consensual sexual relationship, according to police records. An English footballer is recovering after suffering a cardiac arrest during a match. Luton Town Football Club said Captain Tom Lockyer was responsive by the time he was taken off the field on a stretcher. It was the second time this year he has had a medical emergency during a match. Our top global posts might change how you think about hunters, artificial intelligence, and hellos. Our most popular global stories of 2023 offer insights into the stereotypes of male hunters, female gatherers, the biases of artificial intelligence, and the best way to end poverty and the impact of a stranger's greeting. I'm wondering if that was the same thing that was on Spanish that was above before. Now they put the English translation back. And finally, after pummeling Florida, a strengthening storm system is drenching the Atlantic coast. The storm is dumping heavy rain on the Carolinas with the potential for gusty winds and possible tornadoes. And there you have it, friends. The stories, the headlines for today, December 18th, 2023. Let's go now. So, I hate sneezing. Excuse me, folks. What a time for a sneeze to come through. All right. I hate it. All right. Let's go to the NBA and see what's going on there right now. Why are we doing that? I want NBA scores. That's what I want. There we go. You guys can read up on the scores and on the articles and everything. We're just giving you the scores and the highlight of scores, and basically we can't do highlights, unfortunately. That would be pretty copyright issue. We're going to look at the scores over the weekend too, so we'll start with Saturday, December 16th, as the Bucks beat the Pistons. Pistons lose again, 146-114. It was the 76ers over the Hornets, 135-82. What a whomping. The Cavaliers defeated the Hawks 127-119. Timberwolves over the Pacers 127-109. It was the Heat edging out the Bulls 118-116. Warriors defeated the Nets by 4. Nets gave up a good game against Steph Curry and the guys too, but Steph Curry again showing his insights, beat the Nets, and they only go to one. They only get the they go 3-2 on the 5-game road trip, unfortunately. It was the Thunder 118, the Nuggets 117. Mavericks beat the Trailblazers 131-120. The Kings beat the Jazz 125-101. And the Clippers trounced the Knicks 144-122. And then yesterday, the Celtics handed the Magic their 5th loss already, and the Magic have dropped to 4th place from a 2nd place standings. They lose 114-97. Pelicans 146, Spurs 110. By the way, the Celtics are 14-0 at the TD Center in Boston. Bucks beat the Rockets again, win 2 in a row, 128-119. It was the Suns over the Wizards, 112-108. And the Warriors once again win, beating the Trailblazers in Portland 118-114. Tonight's games have the Clippers tipping off with the Pacers in Indiana at 7. These are 7 o'clock games. The Rockets at the Cavaliers, the Bulls at the 76ers. 7:30, you've got the Pistons at the Hawks, Timberwolves at the Heat, Hornets at the Raptors. At 8 o'clock, Grizzlies will take on the Thunder. And at 9 o'clock, Mavericks and Nuggets. Nets will face off with the Jazz and Utah. And at 10 o'clock, the Wizards will go to Sacramento to tip off with the Kings. And the Knicks will go to the Staples Center to face the Lakers at 10:30 tonight. Okay, let's go to NHL and look at the scores there. What a way to go here. Let's pull up the games. Look at all this good stuff going on here. Let's look at the 16th. Yeah, we had a lot of games to cover over the weekend, so we'll give you those games. A final and a shootout on Saturday, December 16th. The Wild beat the Canucks 2-1 to get those 2 points. It was the Jets 6, the Avalanche 2. Flyers shut out the Red Wings 1-0. The Canadians hand the Islanders another loss, 5-3. It was the Devils over the Blue Jackets, 6-3. Good going, Devils. Maple Leafs shut out the Penguins, 7-0. It was the Rangers over the Bruins, 2-1. Blues beat the Stars in overtime, 4-3. Yeah, the Rangers also was in overtime too, 2-1. Predators 3, Capitals 1. The Coyotes shut out the Sabres in Phoenix, 2-0. Panthers 5, Oilers 1. Flames over the Lightning, 4-2. And the Kings beat the Kraken in a shootout. A shootout. Both teams, of course, get the point, but the Kings get 2 points for winning the game 3-2. Yesterday, Canucks beat the Blackhawks 4-3. It was the Capitals over the Hurricanes in a shootout, 2-1. Ducks hand the Devils a loss, 5-1 in New Jersey. The Golden Knights beat the Senators 6-3, and the Sharks lose to the Avalanche in Colorado 6-2. Tonight's games have these are 7:00 games. Ducks at the Red Wings and the Wild at the Penguins. 7:30, Canadians will host the Jets in Winnipeg. The Kraken and the Stars at 8:00 in Dallas, and the Panthers and the Flames will face off at 9:30 in Calgary. All right, now we have just a little bit more time here to look at the important information I want to give to you. So let me go ahead and talk to you about that. As you know, every Monday at this time, we look at I'm on the weight loss, of course, Weight Watchers, and I'm now going into week number 4 this week. But week 3 was a very interesting trial and hard week for me, I must say. So let me explain what had happened. I went to go on the scale. I got up at 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning. I thought maybe if I weigh myself early, I might be able to get a very accurate reading. It turns out that I jump on the scale at 7 o'clock, right? And it says I gained 2.5 pounds. Okay, so I reset the scale, take another reading, and then it says I lost 1.5 pounds down to 320.5. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So I take one more reading and it goes back up to 321.5. So I'm like, okay, I'll post that on Facebook, but I'm not satisfied. So what I do is I go to sleep for another 3 hours. I get up at 10:30, jump on the scale. And this time, I don't know what the scale is doing, but for some reason I was able to digest my food. Also, I also clean up. I go into the bathroom, drinking plenty of water, peeing, and of course doing a number 2. But you want an empty stomach to get on the scale to see what the accuracy is. So you want to make sure you fully digest your meals the night before. Okay, so I happen to eat a little later than normal. That could have been the reason why I needed more time to digest my food. I needed maybe at least 12 hours to digest what I've eaten. Okay, so I finally get on the scale at 10:30 this morning. Jump on the scale, and this is what I got. 317.5. I lose 2.5 pounds again this week, the week 3, to go to 15.5 pounds going into week number 4. Pretty good. I'll take that over gaining 2.5 pounds. I don't know where those 2.5 pounds went. Maybe it was undigested food. I don't know. But maybe I need to just start weighing myself at 10:30 in the morning to get the more accurate reading. And I'm off on Mondays anyway, so I could sleep in a little bit. That's, something there. So that's my current weight right now, 317.5. That is 15.5 pounds down. Doing great. Still got a long ways to go, but another 2.5 last week because I splurged a little bit. I had some Subway, and I had my cheat day on Sunday, which I do, and I know that everybody cheats some way or another. So you really gotta kind of make sure you account for everything for that. All right, well, it's 4:20. I'll get you some more other important information, but we got to take a break because when we come back, we have news of the weird, and then we have what day is today. All that and more when we come back right after this.
Burger King has a great gift idea for the holidays that'll go a long distance. No, not another necktie for Dad. Or a necklace for Mom. Get up to 15 minutes of free crystal clear communication from U.S. Sprint when you buy a $5 book of Burger King gift certificates. Give the certificates to friends for great tasting Burger King food and use the free long distance to call anyone you like. So get fiber optic communication and ring in the holidays with Burger King. For great gift ideas, at Burger King, sometimes you've got to break the rules.
'Tis the season to save at Montgomery Ward. This Friday through Sunday, save an extra 5, 10, 15% throughout the store, even on sale prices. Save an extra 15% on all diamonds, gemstones, all robes, and more. Save an extra 10% on all 14-karat gold, all furniture, and more. All electronics and appliances are on sale. Then save an extra 5% on all refrigerators by Amana, GE, and more. Plus, shop late and save this Friday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. only.
Montgomery Ward, we won't be beat, guaranteed. Dad, tomorrow, can we go to the playground?
All right, we're headed to the playground.
Yeah, we're going to the playground.
Have fun.
I'll see you later. I'm headed to the playground.
With me. Yeah, just like that.
I've got one more. You think I've never been to the playground?
Shop Best Buy and experience the magic of giving the perfect gift.
We were walking in circles. I'm still dizzy. I never want to see them all again, ever. I just want to stay here and watch a movie.
Take a holiday from shopping. Make it a blockbuster night. Carly knew what she wanted.
I'll take the apartment.
So you're moving in today. Welcome to 113th.
From the moment she moved in, someone was watching her every move. Sliver from Paramount Home Video, rated R.
'Twas a bit before Christmas, and all through the house, nothing was stirring, not even a... I ran to the kitchen. What could it be? Christmas crunch from the captain to me.
This crunch is special to make breakfast merry. It's loaded with yummy red and green crunch berries.
Very sweet. Delicious.
But it's only here till Christmas. Christmas crunch is a very merry part of this balanced breakfast.
Look, the soggies and the crunch berries.
Who gave us these?
Captain Crunch?
There's one of 4 jolly ornaments in each specially marked box of Christmas crunch.
Welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. It's time now for News of the Weird. Yes, indeed, by the editors at Andrews McNeil Syndication for the lead story for the week of December 15th. And today our weird story is the Creme de la Weird. Oh, I knew you would say, what was it coming up here? Creme de la Weird. Yeah, this is a good one. The Kiev Post reported on December 13th that Russia's security service, the FSB, has released its 2024 propaganda fundraising calendar, and it's a doozy. The front cover features art of an improperly ripped Vladimir Putin giving his best sultry stare while leaning on a big black compensator vehicle. Meanwhile, the apocalyptic November image depicts an FSB Special Forces soldier standing before the U.S. Capitol while drones and helicopters attack it. Is this a popular holiday gift in Russia? Who knows? The bigger question, why does the FSB need to fundraise? Yeah, right? Gatorland in Orlando, Florida can boast a fascinating new resident. A leucistic white alligator born on December 7th, CNN reported. The female gator is believed to be one of only 8 in the world and the only one born in human care. She was hatched along with a normal colored brother of the same size, about 19 inches long. Leucistic alligators are the rarest genetic variation in the American alligator, the park said. They have bright blue eyes as opposed to albino gators, which have pink eyes. The public is invited to vote on a name on the park's social media sites. Scientists at Northwestern University in Chicago have created teeny tiny VR headsets for laboratory mice, Sky News reported on December 8th, so that they can experience the freedom they will never have. The miniature rodent stereo illumination VR has 2 lenses and 2 screens to give the little dudes a realistic 3D picture of aerial threats like an owl coming in for a meal. The goggles help the mice engage with the environment in a more natural way, said lead scientist Daniel Dombach. In Louisville, Kentucky, a bronze statue of President Abraham Lincoln has been seated on a rock overlooking the Ohio River since 2009. the Louisville Courier-Journal reported. But Lincoln's top hat, which rested at his side on the rock, disappeared sometime at the beginning of December. The sculptor, Ed Hamilton, suspects that the hat was stolen. It was anchored down into that monolith rock, he said. And I don't know what they could have used, maybe some more manpower or some crowbars. Bringing the hat back because you can't wear it. Bring the hat back because you can't wear it, he warned potential thieves. Police and park officials are investigating. An unnamed 22-year-old man from Taiwan was detained on December 5th at the Suvarnabhumi International Airport in Bangkok. Wow. After he was found to be transporting 2 Asian small-clawed otters and a prairie dog. Metro News reports the man had the animals stuffed into 3 separate socks and taped into his boxer shorts. Gee whiz. Surprised the prairie dog didn't bite off the guy's balls, you know? Security officers became suspicious about the large bulge below the man's waistband. They believe he purchased them at a market in the city. The animals were taken to the Wildlife Conservation Office. The smuggler was arrested. We will catch anyone who tries to take animals on planes, a Thai Customs Department spokesperson said. Cops in Genoa, Italy, were stumped by a drug trafficking case in their city, BNN reported on December 1st. That is until they noticed a large number of bald and beardless men visiting a local barbershop. Investigators initiated surveillance and searched the shop where they found 100 grams of cocaine, precision scales, and packaging materials. They also found hashish at the barber's home and evidence of ongoing communication with inmates in a Genoa prison. The 55-year-old barber is awaiting sentencing at the Marassi prison. The Burnside Shelter in Portland, Oregon hit the jackpot earlier in the year when workers discovered a pair of gold sneakers at the bottom of a donation bin, United Press International reported. Turns out the Air Jordan 3 kicks were commissioned by Spike Lee for him to wear at the 2019 Academy Awards, and they're valued at more than $10,000, according to Sotheby's. The auction house will donate 100% of the proceeds, expected to be as much as $20,000, to the Portland Rescue Mission, which operates the shelter, and bidding continues through December 18th. Sergei Vladimirovich Ochigiva was arraigned on December 5th in Los Angeles federal court after a bizarrely uninterrupted trip from Denmark to L.A. The Associated Press has reported that the Russian flew in November without a ticket, passport, visa, or seat assignment. Flight crew members told investigators that he wandered around the plane and switched seats while talking with other passengers. When U.S. Customs and Border Patrol searched his belongings, they found Russian identification cards and an Israeli identification card, court documents outlined. Ochagawa gave a variety of explanations, including that he hadn't slept in 3 days and wasn't sure how he got through security in Copenhagen. A trial is scheduled for December 26th. 50-year-old Michael Green and 37-year-old Byron Bolden were sentenced in December in Colorado's 18th Judicial District for felony theft after they shoplifted about $2,100 worth of items from a Kohl's store. The Denver Gazette reported that in Colorado, the theft under $2,000 is a misdemeanor, which is why their defense counsel creatively argued that the store was having a sale and the men had coupons, which brought the value of the items down below the threshold for felony theft. Smart, right? The DA wasn't having it. Just because an item's on sale doesn't mean it's free to steal, said John Kellner. That's true. Retailers in our community are fed up with theft, and my office will actively prosecute these offenders. There you go. Throw the book at the bums, right? On December 9th, as first responders were assisting a person experiencing an altered mental state in Columbia County, Florida, 35-year-old Stanley Williams hopped into the waiting ambulance and drove away. Click Orlando reported, but officers didn't have time to chase him down. Williams drove to the sheriff's office operations center and stopped near the main entrance, where he was arrested and taken to a hospital for examination. Williams faces grand theft and evading law enforcement charges. Stupid idiot. That's why he's the least competent criminal. Makes sense, doesn't it? Let's see. 52-year-old Leonard Thwau Mthwiga, Kenyan executive, followed his wife of 22 years to the United States, hoping to convince her to return home to him. Oddity Central reported, but when she refused, Mthwiga allegedly decided she must die. Who gives him the right to tell who dies and what? What kind of power does he think he has? So during an Uber ride, Mthwiga told the driver he was very, very mad and needed a hitman. Oh, for crying out loud. The Uber driver got in touch with Connecticut State Police, who enlisted him as an informant. Between September and December, the two engaged in multiple conversations about the plot, all of which were shared with authorities. Mthwiga wanted his wife injected with something to make her very sick, like a cancer, and he wanted her to die a slow death. Finally, on December 4th, the informant introduced Mthwiga to a hitman, for example, the undercover cop who was paid in advance on the job. Mthwiga asked that she be killed while he was away in Kenya so he would have an alibi. Instead, he was arrested and held on $5 million bond. Beautiful! The Uber driver comes through once again and takes no crap from anybody. Yeah. And finally, 67-year-old Catherine Tunason Smith, right, of Midvale, Utah, already had 5 outstanding arrest warrants against her. Gee whiz. 2 involving her neighbors when she sealed her own fate. ABC4 TV reported that on December 12th, she was arrested after a TikTok video came to light depicting Smith making racist and crass comments to a neighbor. In one interaction, Smith came onto the neighbor's property and began ripping up the neighbor's garden and continued until the neighbor chased her away with a stick, the charges allege. Mayor Marcus Stevenson posted on Twitter or X, "I'm hopeful that this is a positive step for the healing of the targeted family, the affected neighborhood, Ms. Smith, and our entire community. She was booked and released on her own recognizance. So, yeah. So send your weird news items with subject line weird news to weirdnewstips at amuniversal.com. And of course, to our wonderful, great people at Andrews McMill Syndication for News of the Weird. Yes. All right. It is 4:33. And let's go to the holiday of today. What holiday is today? Let's see if there's any delicious ones out there. Last Friday was, Brownies Day or something of that sort or something else. So let's see what we have today. We've got one. 2, if you want to count that. I don't know if anybody is interested in suckling pig. Okay, we got 2 of them for you, so let's take a look at the first one, which happens to be Bake Cookies Day today on December 18th, 2023. Let's take a look at this decision today. You know, cookies are more than just a baked treat, with generations bonding over it, and it's just in time for Christmas. What we love best about cookies is their versatility, crispy or soft and chewy, traditional shapes or special cookie cutter designs, sugar, spices, dried fruit, chocolate. The list of options goes on. So get baking and fill your house with the aroma of warm, soft cookies baked to perfection. From simple sugar ones to triple chocolate ones, we think cookies are the greatest thing to have come out of an oven since baked bread. Although the exact origin of the day is unknown, every year on Bake Cookies Day, people merrily bake cookies for bake sales, charity drives, and sharing with friends and family. Cookies have been around in some form or another pretty much forever. The earliest documented cookie goes back to 7th century Persia. Cookies were introduced to America sometime in the 17th century, but the name cookie was given much later. The original Dutch form koekje or koekje, meaning small cake, was altered to cookie, that is C-O-O-K-Y, and eventually cookie with an I-E. Since then, they have taken the world by storm, and thanks to the countless flavors, varieties, and styles that have become a beloved treat for every event and occasion year-round. 2 recipes for cookies debuted in the first cookbook written by an American that was published in the United States called American Cookery, authored by Amelia Simmons in 1796. Included 2 recipes, the first titled Cookies and the other The Christmas Cookie. Cookies are one of those few treats you can make where your imagination is the limit. Bakers with a creative streak to break the mold have invented some of the most well-loved cookies we eat today. For example, the chocolate chip cookie was invented by Sue Brides and Ruth Graves Wakefield in 1938. The duo owned a popular inn in Massachusetts featuring in-house baking that ultimately led them to try something new. And here is the timeline. Starts in the 7th century in Persia, goes to 1921 where Betty Crocker is created. You know, the icon. She created Betty Crocker was created by the Washburn Crosby Milling Company. Go to 1938. Choco Power. Chocolate chip cookies are created by Ruth Graves Wakefield and Sue Brides. Then, on July 9th, 1997, the Commonwealth cookie. The chocolate chip cookie is declared as the official cookie for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There you have it. How to celebrate Baked Cookies Day? Well, the ideal way to celebrate this day is to bake a batch of cookies. You can even think out of the box and experiment with various flavors you have never tried before. Cookies are made to be shared. Exchange cookies with your friends and family who are also baking cookies on this day to further expand your repertoire of cookie recipes. And Baked Cookies Day conveniently falls in the Christmas season, making cookies the ideal gift, warm, sweet, and baked with love. It is sure to be a hit with the recipient of your gift. Here's 5 delicious facts about the cookie. The average American eats approximately 35,000 cookies in their lifetime. That's a lot. 245 Americans consumed ready-to-eat cookies in 2020. And baking burns 348 calories an hour, so you can make some calorie space prior to binging on cookies. Chocolate chip cookies are the most popular and common cookies baked every year. And the biggest cookie ever recorded was baked in 2003 and weighed 40,000 pounds. And why we love this day? Well, just like baking cookies is a traditional activity, Baked Cookies Day has become a tradition for many during the holiday season. We at National Today love the many holidays within the Christmas holiday season. And the day to celebrate cookies in all shapes and sizes and the countless combination of ingredients is what we look forward to. Get out of your cookie comfort zone and try a snickerdoodle or chocolate mint cookie, or experiment with an uncommon cookie recipe. And baking cookies may be personalized, but it sure is a gift that keeps on giving. Nothing compares to the joy on a loved one's face upon receiving cookies or the funds raised for the needy during the bake sales. And there you have it, friends. Fantastic National Baked Cookie Day in all of its glory. All right. Do we have time for another one? Well, the other one that was food-wise was National Suckling Pig Day. Roast Suckling Pig Day. Yeah. So if you like suckling pig, you might like it. You can read up on that one further. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at our first article in our repertoire of articles today, the 22 Christmas romance books that will put you in the holiday spirit. We'll be back with more DMS 3000 news right after this.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, the girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come and get on down to Hooters.
Oh, there's no place.
This holiday season, the magic begins at Lowe's. You'll see every kind of decoration and ornament imaginable. And the very latest in holiday lights. There are trees of every description.
You mean it comes this way, lights and all?
Lights and all. And only Lowe's has the Carrolltown collection. Lowe's has low prices every day, guaranteed.
You can't beat home, sweet home.
Lowe's, improving home improvement.
All done, and we saved a lot.
What about Mom?
Let's get her a digital camera.
A new camcorder, a notebook, a netbook. How about a PC Richard & Son gift card?
I got it. Let's get her a Sharp Quattron LED TV. We save up to $800 and get 24 months special financing.
You're gonna buy your mother an HD TV?
Not my mother, your mother.
But my mother lives with us.
Exactly.
PC Richard & Son.
Welcome to the perfect holiday party. Here, even the figure eights are more than you'd expect. When you get hungry, food is never in short supply. And there's a miracle on every street. Of course, life isn't always perfect, so there's Walgreens. Open every day, many 24 hours, with everything needed for the holidays. That's life. This is Walgreens.
Well, grab a cup of hot cocoa and read these heartwarming Christmas romance books by the light of the tree, as Leandra Bebo is going to give us 22 Christmas romance books that will put you in the holiday spirit. Why not, right? Look at them all here. For many of us, the day after Thanksgiving marks the much anticipated start of the Christmas season. It's the time of year to cast aside moody reads and reach for all things sweet and cozy. Hallmark Christmas movies, anyone? And what's more merry and magical than a stack of new Christmas romance books? Whether you prefer sparkly small-town love stories or magical meet-cutes in the city, well, we've got the perfect sweet and sometimes spicy Yuletide romances for you. To kickstart your holiday season, we curated a list of the books for December that combine all the joy and warmth of your favorite Christmas books with the swoon-worthy relationship drama of a romance. Here you'll find novels by debut authors and best-selling writers alike, along with a few YA holiday romances or year-round to round out the bunch. Grab a mug of hot chocolate, settle in by a roaring fire, and pick up one of those most anticipated books of the holiday season. So the first one on the list is The Christmas Wager by Holly Cassidy. The Christmas Wager is one of those Christmas romance books that opens like your favorite Hallmark Christmas movie. Bella is a cutthroat Los Angeles businesswoman who needs to clinch the deal with a Colorado shop owner by Christmas. Jesse is a small-town handyman whose love for the holiday season is matched only by his love for his grandpa, the business owner in question. And he steps in just in time to save his grandpa from signing over his business for a shockingly low price. So the two icy strangers make a deal. They'll compete in the town's annual holiday games. Whoever wins gets to set the price. Get ready for a hilarious, wholesome face-off between strangers who have every reason to hate each other but can't deny a seed of attraction. The second book on the list is A December to Remember by Jenny Bayliss. When I first started reading A December to Remember, I wasn't sure why I had been marketed as a holiday romance novel. The prologue involves an eccentric older man writing a letter before riding off into the sunset in a camper van. But the real story begins several years later as the man's three daughters come together for his funeral on a dreary November day. The half-sisters receive a set of strange instructions to unlock their inheritances. As the winter solstice approaches, the trio's bond deepens and their individual romances sparkle and shine in new ways. The third book is called Wrapped with a Bow by Lily Vale. I expected another sweet, wholesome Christmas romance when I picked up a copy of Wrapped with a Bow. While this small town enemies to lover story has plenty of sugar, it was also loaded with enough spice to make us blush, or maybe it was just the crackling warmth of the fire. In the book, Alicia Rowe is a Piney Peaks native determined to make her town famous again by finagling the filming of a sequel to a 50-year-old Christmas classic shot in the house across the street. The only problem? The house was just inherited by city slicker Vess Hollins, who was equally determined to sell the place so he can get back to his life. Of course, sparks fly. The fourth book is called Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory. Although Royal Holiday is the fourth book in Jasmine Guillory's The Wedding Date romance book series, you can enjoy it as a standalone holiday read. Vivian Frost is thrilled when her daughter invites her on a whirlwind Christmas work trip to style one of the British royals. As the tag-along family member, she's prepared to stay out of the way while exploring as much of London as possible. But then she meets the royal's private secretary. A little flirtation never hurt anyone, right? Readers who love London, the royals, and midlife romance will fall head over heels for this one. The fifth book is called Flying Home for Christmas by Helen Whitaker. Flying Home for Christmas begins with one of the sweetest meet-cutes I've ever read or witnessed in a romantic Christmas movie or book. It's Christmas Eve, and a gnarly snowstorm has frozen operations at Portland International Airport. No one's flying in or out until early Christmas morning. Miraculously, Londoner Thea snags the last hotel room left in the airport region. But when she arrives, the manager miserably tells Thea and a tall, handsome stranger that the reservation system had a glitch and double-booked them into the same room. Two perfect strangers stuck together on a snowy Christmas Eve. It's the perfect setup for what turned out to be one of my favorite Christmas romance books on the list. And The Wake-Up Call by Beth O'Leary is number 6. This enemies to lovers romance belongs in your stack of festive feel-good books made for the holiday season. Wake Up Call will transport you to the front desk of the impossibly cozy Forest Manor Hotel, where Izzy and Lucas must survive the holiday shift together despite her bitterness over being rejected by him the year before. When Izzy finds some wedding rings in the lost and found closet, the two compete to be the first to find the rings' owners and earn enough reward money to save the hotel. Throw in a little grumpy sunshine banter and a light mystery subplot, and you've got one of the best Christmas romance books for winter vacation. Beth O'Leary earned a major fan when I read her 2019 debut, The Flat Share, writes one Reader's Digest editor, and while that's still my favorite of her books, I can say The Wake Up Call does not disappoint. The romance is fun and funny, and the side characters shine. We're going to take a break and stop right here. And later on, during this week of Christmas shows, we'll be back with more of the romance books. So we'll save this as part of our regular lineup here on DMS 3000 News and give you all the rest of the details of those fantastic romance books that you might want to incorporate in your library this holiday season. We'll be right back right after this.
Wow, you sure got a lot of stuff for Joey.
I know, but he's been so good this year.
Do you think he hurt us?
No.
Surprise your pet with something from the PetSmart Holiday Village, where we have over 1,000 exclusive toys, treats, and gifts.
Here you go, Joey.
Season's greetings from PetSmart. Need the perfect gift for a pet lover on your list? Fetch a PetSmart gift card. Complete the package with this cute dog toy, only at PetSmart.
Christmas comes to Radio Shack, and you just can't wait, just can't wait.
If you want to give a gift that really excites, choose a remote control racer, Jeep, or tank from the Radio Shack fleet. If you want to give a gift that provides hours of fun, select a handheld game from the Radio Shack Arcade. Games and vehicles each sold separately. Batteries not included.
You just can't wait for a Christmas pack from Radio Shack.
I make this jam every year. doesn't happen without me.
Taco John's wants you to have a happy holiday the Mexican way with Nachos Navidad. Lots of fresh-made corn tortilla chips piled high and topped with all kinds of delicious things. Nachos Navidad from Taco John's. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. And from Taco John's.
iPhone 15 Pro for your husband. iPhone 15 Pro.
Carolers, to tell me you want a new iPhone, a better plan's Verizon.
No way they take this wreck.
Yes, they will, and you'll get iPhone 15 Pro and Apple TV 4K and Apple One, all three on them. Do that. We tried to tell him, but he paid us a lot.
It was a lot.
This holiday, turn any iPhone in any condition into a new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All three on us. It's holiday every day with Verizon.
I know how thrifty you are. No lying. So save on White Castle's holiday sack. 10 yummy 100% U.S. beef hamburgers steam grilled on a bed of onions for a dickens of a price. Happy holiday. Take home the holiday huggables. There's one in every Castle meal, only at White Castle, where we give like Santa and you save like Scrooge. White Castle.
Brown sugar versus white sugar. Both are super if you have a sweet tooth. But which one is better for your health? Well, Erin Kayada is going to give us the lowdown of this fantastic comparison between the two. Well, keeping yourself healthy means asking questions and making good choices. Is coffee better for you than tea? Are carbs good for you? And most importantly, is brown sugar better than white sugar? Well, some people seem to have it all in their heads that brown sugar is better for your health. People tell me all the time they put 4 teaspoons of brown sugar in their coffee instead of white sugar. So it's okay, says Brooklyn-based dietitian Shira Susi. The reality is that practice is not okay. In fact, it's no different than putting 4 teaspoons of white sugar in your coffee. There are 2 types of brown sugar, according to Susi. Factory or natural brown sugar, which maintains the natural cane juice, or refinery brown sugar, which is white sugar coated with a thin film of syrup or molasses. All have different percentages of sucrose, glucose, fructose, minerals, and water. While their flavors and textures may be slightly different, Susi says the darker the sugar is, the stronger the flavor. But they're all practically the same when it comes to how they affect your health. Just take a look at these things that sugar does to your body. When it comes to comparing white and brown sugar, the two are almost identical nutrition-wise, says Aleda Lacabellis. She's an MHSCRD and owner of Alive Nutritional Solutions. White sugar is slightly more processed, seeing as it has the molasses completely stripped out of it, whereas brown sugar is the result of stopping the production process a bit early while a tiny amount of molasses remains. What you end up with is a deeper flavor and color with brown sugar. Lacabella says, less processing means brown sugar does contain trace amounts of minerals like calcium and potassium, whereas white sugar is pure sucrose with no vitamins or minerals. The natural juice retained in natural brown sugar also means it's more flavorful, allowing you to maybe use less, says Haley Crean, dietitian and certified diabetes educator at Haley Crean Nutrition. But that doesn't mean you should be bulking up on brown sugar. Crean recommends sticking with the U.S. Dietary Guidelines recommendation of no more than 50 grams of sugar a day, no matter what kind you use. Need some help curbing your sugar intake? Make some of these easy, healthy food swaps to cut down on the amount of sugar you're consuming. And there you have it. Erin Kayada joined Reader's Digest as an assistant staff writer in March of 2019, coming from the Stanford Advocate, where she covered education. Prior to this, she was part of a 2-year Hearst Fellowship program where she covered crime and education in suburban Connecticut. She graduated from Emerson College and spent part of her undergraduate career writing for the Boston Globe. When she's not writing articles about useful facts and pop culture, you can find Erin enjoying the local theater scene and working toward her goal of reading 50 books a year. Wow, that's a lot of books. And there you have it, friends. The myth of it all is or the solution to the problem is limit the amount of sugar in your diet as possible and try to keep as healthy as you can. Cookies and cakes and all that stuff can be addicting. But if you're ever on Weight Watchers, your taste for sweets actually diminishes because you're eating more fruits and vegetables and more 0-point foods, getting more protein in your diet, and you may have occasional sweets here and there. They don't say to cut out the sweets, but you do have to point everything when you're on Weight Watchers. In fact, I had 3 brownies at 3 points apiece for 9 points for a snack. But tonight I'm going to have a healthy salad that's only going to cost me 4 points. So I still have 1 point at the end of the night when it's all said and done. So even with chopping 3 brownies for snacks and having a light lunch of eggplant and garlic sauce, which really cost me nothing except the wraps that I had wrapped them in, and a couple of handfuls of Bugle chips, I had a Slim Fast protein shake this morning, which was about 3 points per scoop, which is 6, plus the milk that was added to it, which is whole milk, 2 points for that for an 8-point breakfast. What does that have to do with everything in here? Well, when you're counting calories and you're on Weight Watchers and you're trying to lose weight, and I know that the support is fantastic. Thank you for it. I'm telling you exactly what I eat on a daily basis here. I'm not ashamed to show you or expose what I'm eating. You might say to yourself, how can he chop 3 brownies down for a snack? Well, when you got the points, you can do that. You have to account for them. You want the brownies that badly? You go and eat them, but you got to account for them. And there was 3 left in there, so I wanted to finish them up. Would I have brownies again later on in the year? Maybe. My mom makes them and they cut them small. Yeah, why not? They're really a good 3-point treat to have, whether for a snack or at the end of the day. Whatever the case, you can have brownies. You just got to account for them. When we come back, we're going to be looking at our final article of the day, which is, what is doom scrolling and how can you stop the cycle? We'll look at that, plus, of course, our motivation of the day and the end of our program coming up with some fantastic information, which is going on tonight for all of our game show people who need to come to Discord tonight between 8 and 9, because Blockbusters and Joker's Wild is being taped for the final time of December, and then we go off for 2 weeks. So I'll tell you about that toward the end of the program. We come back, we'll do all of that right after this.
You already know about Dairy Queen's great full meal deal. Home-style burger, fries,
along with soft drink and the famous Dairy Queen sundae. Now it's the holiday full meal deal.
And you get this great holiday glass. Collect a whole set.
The holiday full meal deal. Only at Dairy Queen. You get all this, plus a collectible holiday glass, all for the festive price of only $2.99. It's the season sensation at Dairy Queen, where we treat you right.
The hut was crisscross doodle bear with its own true palace with the lucky ducks and Bobby's baby sister Kelly. Riding the Batmobile.
Target knows exactly what kids want, like the Fisher-Price Flip Track Mountain. 45 pieces create a different race every day for just $29.88. Or this 3-in-1 creativity table for hours of fun, now $34.88 during Fisher-Price Week.
I want all the toys you have, please.
Children of the world. To resist.
Okay, let's meet at Red Lobster in an hour.
This holiday season, there's no better place to meet than Red Lobster.
For a limited time, enjoy our pound of shrimp dinner with succulent scampi, our big golden fried shrimp, and flame grilled shrimp. A whole pound of shrimp, specially priced. Red Lobster's pound of shrimp dinner, the perfect gift from us to you, ends soon. And for your holiday parties, enjoy party platters to go. Happy holidays from Red Lobster.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas from Carvel!
Wait a minute. You're not Santa Claus. You're Cookie Puss.
I know that, but we're both helping Santa this year at participating Carvel ice cream stores.
And don't forget the Carvel dolls. They make great gifts.
That's right, Hug Me the Bear. Want to send a Carvel ice cream cake or a Carvel doll to a friend? Phone toll-free 1-800-327-GIFT. That's 1-800-327-GIFT.
Happy holidays from Carvel.
Welcome to Woolworth, where there's always something worth shopping for.
Doll cases?
Every little girl's favorites, including baby doll, wardrobe trunk, and My Little Pony collector's case. Your choice, $10.99.
Cassette recorders.
Dual Deck Star Studio from Child Guidance with microphone and headset, now $69.99.
Playboards?
Sure, brand new with lots of magnetic action. Junior sets just $5, deluxe sets $10. Right now at Woolworth, where shopping for values is a tradition.
Up late reading bad news on your phone again? Well, here's how to stop the unhealthy habit of doom scrolling. Yes, most of us have been there. It's midnight, and we really should turn off our phones and go to bed. But we can't stop doom scrolling through news apps and social media, reading about the Ukraine-Russian war, soaring gas prices, inflation, racial injustice, climate change, or all of the above. We also can't help wondering, is the pandemic over? And reading news stories about the latest COVID-19 variants. There's no doubt the past few years have been a doozy, leading to a dramatic increase in the use of Facebook, Twitter, and media sites. But why do we insist on doom scrolling when it makes us feel so bad? Many who experience these scrolling behaviors find there's an urgency to look, learn, and understand the sensational issues going on in the world, says Deborah Serrani. She's a psychologist and professor at Adelphi University in Garden City, New York. However, the constant hypervigilance we engage in by doom scrolling is exceedingly harmful. An obsessive doom scrolling habit is neither helpful for staying informed nor for our good health. A 2022 University of Florida study published in the American Psychological Association journal Technology, Mind, and Behavior found that doom scrolling was linked to anxiety as well as problematic use of the internet and social media. And a 2020 Dartmouth study found that college students' amount of phone usage and COVID-19 related news exposure was also associated with greater reports of anxiety and depression. There is no question that doom scrolling can be addicting, says psychologist Sherry Benton, PhD, founder and chief science officer of the online therapy company Tao Connect. Many of us have a cell phone addiction to begin with, and the more dramatic the news, the more we tend to get lost in it. Here are a few tips to get over phone addiction. With bad news always at our fingertips, though, how can we limit our consumption before it becomes unhealthy? We ask the experts for advice. The word doom scrolling still hasn't made it into the dictionary, although Merriam-Webster has named it one of the words we're watching, with a definition of the tendency to continue to surf or scroll through bad news, even though that news is saddening, disheartening, or depressing. The term first appeared around 2018, but has gained popularity since the tumultuous year of 2020. It can also be called doom surfing. Although it's not yet an official psychological behavior, the 2022 University of Florida study found it to be a distinct concept and a new and unique behavior that can be measured. Doom scrolling is not just the search for news, but the compulsion to seek out negative information. It's not that being informed is bad, for example, but there have been some positive changes since the anti-racism protest began. But it's the constant intake of negative information that's a problem. Essentially, there is a consciously focused activity of scrolling from one terrifying story, video, or news coverage to another, Serrani says. Though greater the cell phone and tablet use, in addition to internet access, has fueled the doom scrolling phenomena and the negative effects of social media, research has shown that the exposure to bad news following traumatic events has also been a problem in years past. One University of California study found from 2013 found that the exposure to 4 or more hours a day of nearly 9/11 related television was linked with a greater incidence of health problems several years later. Another study found that greater media exposure to the Boston Marathon bombings in 2013 was linked with acute stress. Doom scrolling doesn't only take place on your phone or computer, Serrani says. Remote scrolling, going from one television station to another during traumatic events, is also a health concern. With the advent of smartphones, having constant, easy access to bad news has likely just heightened the behavior we already had a tendency to engage in. Can you blame the media for doom scrolling? Well, in part, yes, you can. When media companies profit through advertising and rates related to the number of readers, headlines might be written more dramatically to gain viewers, Benton says. This isn't new. Writers have used sensationalist headlines to sell newspapers for more than a century. Still, it might be even more true today. News is no longer a process of sharing helpful information, but rather what researchers are calling attention economy, Serrani says. The goal of news today for stories, websites, tweets, posts, and the like is to create viewer attraction and user retention to keep your eyeballs on their site longer. Plus, social media and news apps have another ace up their sleeves for pulling you in and getting you to keep reading. The algorithm on sites might also recommend more doom and gloom articles the more you read them, Ben says. And before you know it, your news feed is filled with all the bad happening in the world, and none of it good. You might also find that you spend much time on Facebook reading the negative stories the site keeps shoving in your face. Yeah. That's an interesting way of looking at it too. So what causes doom scrolling? Well, doom scrolling develops from an almost uncontrollable need to keep on the lookout for threats. People often seek risky, scary, and negative information because it alerts us to the risks in our environment. It helps us prepare, Serrani says. People who doom scroll are indeed quite upset, but instead of sealing themselves off from the trauma, they actually seek more stimulation from the unnerving issue. The clinical term is counterphobic behavior, she says. Instead of fleeing from the thing that scares us, we are attracted to it. They want to know more. They need to know more. They counter the feelings of anxiety by watching and rewatching, Serrani says. It becomes a kind of compulsion to repeat the disturbing news over and over. Plus, humans don't like uncertainty, so we keep reading, hoping to figure things out, and in doing so, we're trying to make sense of traumatic events, Serrani says. Our tendency to seek out bad things is actually a primitive behavior, and this kind of vigilance kept us ready for trouble. Detecting danger is a central function of our brain and central nervous system. In our cave-dwelling days, this prevented us from threats related to attacks from animals or people and from being caught in dangerous weather, Benton says. The problem is that our nervous system still works the same in our current day and age and doesn't discriminate between real threats and the bad news we read about. That bad news can send our bodies into higher alert. Oddly, humans penchant for seeking out and identifying danger, and that can chemically give us a natural high, which is also why people love getting scared. I don't particularly like getting scared at all myself. Humans enjoy the adrenaline rush of fear. It's why we ride roller coasters and go to haunted houses around Halloween, Benton says. We get that same rush when our fear response is triggered reading disturbing material. Thrillers, mysteries, and other adrenaline-triggering books are really popular for a reason. Seeking out negative news may also be part of this phenomenon because it gets our blood up. There's a certain thrill in reading about disaster, like a train wreck we can't look away from. As a result, people may have a negative bias that draws them to bad news. And something else, fake news, which could be the reason for the old journalism adage, if it bleeds, it leads. So what are the effects of doom scrolling? If doom scrolling can make us feel good, why is it so bad? Too much consumption overwhelms our system, Benton says. We begin to suffer from stress, anxiety, or depression. Our bodies produce high levels of natural steroid called cortisol, which can wreak havoc on your body. And one might experience things like digestive problems, headaches, sleep problems, memory or concentration impairment, and heart disease. And cortisol and chronic stress can also contribute to weight gain. Serrani says this heightened state of stress due to doom scrolling keeps us alert at first, pumping us full of adrenaline and orexin, which affect emotional arousal as well as cortisol. But then over time, our body and mind become overtaxed, staying so aroused and vigilant, she says. So long-term stress causes our blood pressure to spike, our heart rate to soar, our muscles tense, our mood changes, and before you know it, we're tired, fatigued, irritable, and needing a good long rest from everything and everyone. We might also experience chronic pain and lowered immunology. Wow. Research, including a 2022 study published in Psychological Trauma and a 2021 study in Perspectives in Psychiatric Care, has shown that doom scrolling is as bad psychologically as it is physically. Studies have found doom scrolling worsens mental health, deepens insecurity, increases feelings of helplessness, and distorts cognitive bias, Sereni says. Cognitive bias is the way your brain interprets information. This means exposure to too much bad news can give you a negative outlook on the world around you, even when you're offline. The cumulative exposure to stories of trauma, crisis, fear, and helplessness change our social expectations, making us believe that the world is truly a scary place, Serrani says. Doom scrolling can make us feel utterly hopeless. This can warp our perception of reality. See, even though we've faced challenging situations lately, the world isn't all bad, and all the conspiracy theories out there making it seem even worse are just bunk. When you read article after article of horrible news, it's easy and not uncommon to feel like the world is falling apart, Benton says. So how much doom scrolling is too much? Well, the exact amount of bad news to take in may depend on the person. One 2020 German study on the effects of COVID-19 related media exposure found 7 times per day and 2.5 hours to be the tipping point. But that might even be too much for some people. If you are spending more than an hour or two to stay caught up on the news, that is a sign you probably need to shift your focus to something else. And beyond a specific time limit, you will also want to consider how your news habit is affecting you physically and mentally. First, take a step back and assess how much time you're spending on the habit, Benton says. Additionally, when you start to have difficulty sleeping, headaches, or digestive problems, this is an important sign to consider changing your media consumption habits. You don't have to quit Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok entirely, but you do need to reassess. So how do you stop? Stopping your bad news habit means setting limits for yourself, as well as your cell phone, social media, and news channel usage. Statistics report that the average media user is online or watching television over 6 hours a day, Serrani says. When it comes to the consumption of media, it's really important to have structure. And here's how you can stop yourself from going down the internet rabbit hole. So give yourself a time limit. So instead of aimlessly doom scrolling, be more intentional about your information consumption. If you feel a need to know what's going on, give yourself a limit of 1 hour a day for scrolling current events. You'll be informed and have greater well-being with this approach. And do not doom scroll before bed. In addition to how long you're going to consume news media, plan for when you're going to do it as well. Starting your day by scrolling through news is likely to be mentally healthier than doom scrolling at night in the dark before bed, which could lead to trouble falling asleep. That's right. Simply avoiding late night doom scrolling can actually make you happier. If you do reach for your phone, opt for turning on the iPhone white noise feature instead. And take advantage of your phone settings to better manage the stream of info that pings your phone. It'll help you keep the boundaries you've set and not get sucked back in. Consider deleting your news media apps or turning on notifications for breaking news, Sarani says. And if deleting them seems too drastic, try to simply hide apps on your iPhone to take a break from them. We know it's not going to be as if social media disappeared, but it's a start. And speaking of social media can help us feel connected, but too much time on it, especially when it's negative and unhealthy, can affect our real life. To take time away from your phone or computer by engaging in non-technology and feeding your senses, Sarani says. Try experiences like exercising, talking with loved ones, cooking, cuddling with a pet, or listening to smooth music. And it can feel odd to disconnect when we are so used to being online, but it can help us shift our focus. Ben suggests building a self-care plan of practices including relaxation and mindfulness techniques. When you're engaging in mindfulness, you're living in the moment by giving your full attention to friends and family or participating in hobbies and activities you enjoy. And when you are online, try to balance your intake of the negative with the positive. You might feel guilty searching out something whimsical instead of the more crucial news of the world, but it's important for your health to find good news stories too. If you have to do a search for information, consider kindness scrolling, which has been shown to be meaningful, Sarani says. In a 2021 study published in the journal PLOS1, exposure to COVID-19 related kind acts did not lead to the same negative emotional consequences as bad COVID-19 related news. Likewise, reading heartwarming stories about Ukrainian refugees is likely to have a more positive impact on your mental health than binge reading news only about the devastations of the war. The idea of searching for good news is a brilliant way of inoculating yourself against doom scrolling, Sarani says. Taking in media that contains positive, meaningful, and pro-social events reduces anxiety, stress, sadness, and feelings of hopelessness, be it a human interest story, an uplifting video, or even something silly like tiny goats dressed in sweaters jumping and playing. My upbeat find for today. Learn what's misinformation versus disinformation, and make sure your news sources are not peddling either. The disinformation and misinformation that can be found everywhere online dilute the scientific facts of life as we know it, Sarani says. Even within mainstream news sites, stories are created to grab you, keep you, and endlessly worry you. Once you have learned this, it may help you break your doom scrolling and news cycling habits. There's a happy side effect of searching out positive stories. It might inadvertently help your news feed become more balanced. When I was shopping for a new puppy a couple of years ago, I noticed my news feed started to fill with cute puppies. When I was renovating a room in my house, I started to get stories in Architectural Digest and other decorating magazines, Benton says. My interest in searches were shifting my algorithms and diversifying the articles suggested. Beat social media at its own game by altering your feed to include a better mix of stories. We can easily modify our news feeds intentionally, search terms that are interesting to you rather than stressful, she says, and those might be hobbies, travel stories, the funniest animal stories, or anything you find pleasant, she says. When you're offline, lighten things up by watching comedy shows or reading the funniest books you can get your hands on. By mixing it up, you have a more balanced, positive, and maybe even hopeful view of the world. There you have it. Great sources. Tina Don Vito, she's a regular contributor to our ReadersDigest.com culture and travel sections. All right. a long, lengthy article, but one with a lot of great things to keep you from getting into the habit of doom scrolling. All right. Instead of taking a break, we're going to go right now to our motivation of the day to end our program. Why not? Because at this point, we need some motivation, and we need it badly, especially during this holiday season right now. So let's look at Ralph Marston's Daily Motivator for today, December 18th, 2023. Let's put it up there on the screen for everybody to see. Today's title is Spark of Hope. Focus on the opportunities. Persevere through the difficulties. Remind yourself that those difficulties and opportunities are often two aspects of the same reality. Offer yourself the wisdom to consider differing perspectives on the same situation. As you do so, take good care of yourself. Nurture and engage your potential to bring good out of whatever happens. Your circumstances are never perfect in every way, neither are they ever without hope. From a tiny spark of hope, take a tiny step. Feel the power of doing so or the difference it makes, and then take another step a little more ambitious. Even when the pains are more evident, the opportunities are still there. Continue to choose hope and to reliably act on it, for that's what will bring you to a more positive place. Ralph Marston with the Daily Motivator. Beautiful. Love every minute of it. Fantastic. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight on DMS 3000 News Live. Been a great show, and I hope that you enjoyed every bit of it here. It's one of our first of our Christmas shows this week. And also to let you know that tonight, if you are a champ on Blockbusters or the Joker's Wild, you are cordially invited to come to Discord tonight at 8 o'clock and at 9 o'clock to respectfully take on the challengers. I've also reached out to some of the challengers. We're doing 2 episodes of Joker's Wild tonight and a Blockbusters episode at 9. And then we're going to be taking 2 weeks off from recording, as me and Brandon Scruggs and all of us basically at the David 3000 Network will take off and have a fantastic Christmas and New Year's holiday weekends. And then, of course, after next week, we'll be back on the 26th with your regularly scheduled DMS 3000 News program and go 4 days during the week of Christmas and 4 days during the week of New Year's. So all of that and a whole lot more will be talked about, and I hope that maybe stay tuned for a special show where David St. Dennis will give us a rundown of what to expect in the year 2024. For now, though, I'm Jason Nicanio. Remember, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. Have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow for episode 89. And of course, if you are playing the games tonight with us, we'll see you in a few hours. Good night from DMS 3000 News.
Drive away
Don't forget to subscribe to the Advertising Network for great more content like this one.